Guys, welcome back to Coliseum Forum. We've had some really awesome guests recently, and we're going to continue that streak today. We've got Tony Fleece. You may know him from Stray Dogs. I always call it Stray Cats, even in the stores. I don't know why I do that. Local Man, My Little Pony. We also got Tone Rodriguez, who you may know who from the Simpsons comics. That's where I know him from, or their book that they're working on together. And the reason we're here, the Feral World Tour for their book Feral. That's super cool. We're going to talk to them a little bit about Feral, and then we're going to talk to them a little bit about the world tour because apparently they're rock stars now. These comic book artists and their egos, I swear. Uh, so jumping right into it, how are you guys doing? Thanks for being here.
Oh, we're doing great. We're here at the house. We're working on Feral. Tone lives in Louisiana usually, and then every couple months or every 6 weeks or so, he'll come out here and we'll work in my studio and sort of make sure that we're on the same page and cranking out Feral as much as best we can. So that's what we're doing right now.
Try to get as much work done as we can when we're together. So
Yeah, so let's start there. So obviously, I want to talk about your guys' careers. You guys have done some really awesome comics that I think people are excited to talk about or hear about at least. And if they're watching this, they're probably big fans of Feral. But we've got something called the Feral World Tour. So what is the Feral World Tour? How does that idea come about, and how do we get there?
So Feral World Tour sort of comes from I believe in local comic shops a lot, and I promote my stuff, especially when it's Image Comics, where you're sort of like your own promotion. I mean, they have a promotional department, but it also is up to you a lot to sort of like get the word out about your stuff. So I'm always like sending promo stuff to stores, and I go to Comics Pro to try and interact with stores and like talking to them online and following and like just being engaged with them, because I feel like if comics is a small business, like if I'm a vacuum salesman or a vacuum manufacturer, like you guys are the ones that have to go door to door. So this
Sure.
is sort of the world tour is sort of my uh version of like stopping in at my, district managers and seeing if everything's going okay with the product, you know.
Sure.
But also I've done signings in LA a ton because I live here.
Right.
And then when I do signings anywhere outside of LA, I've noticed that, especially if I do them more than once, but even just going there once, it feels like I'm setting up like little Tony Fleece franchises, you know? And
Sure. Yeah.
so like there's one in like down near San Diego that I've been to a couple times, and they'll sell like it's just one store and they'll sell like 40 Uncanny Valleys to hold file customers.
Right.
And so I'm like, well, that is way better than most stores. So like that says something about being able to go into a place, meet somebody in their hometown, shake their hand, say thank you for reading my book or thank you for trying my book, sign it for them. Just like I feel like there's a value to being able to give the personal touch to the work. So when the Feral Trade came out, I'm just blathering at this point. But when the Feral Trade came out, I was like, this is a good time to go out, make sure, because Feral's an ongoing book, make sure that we're sort of like doing everything we possibly can to make sure we're behind the book, that we're saying like we're trying to get everybody we can to pay attention to it, to read it. And so this is sort of like the most personal way we can do that, which is like going out and meeting people, shaking hands and putting books in hands.
Excellent. Yeah. If you want, you said you sign locally usually. Who shout out your local comic shop? Who?
I sign a lot at Collector's Paradise. They're the ones I do most here in LA, but I'll sign at House of Secrets sometimes. I've signed at Comics Factory, Golden Apple a bunch.
Oh,
Um,
okay. So yeah, like the big LA stores.
yeah.
Excellent. Very cool. Okay. And then how did you Tone? I think you mentioned you're down in Louisiana. How did you get dragged along on this idea?
well, again, I've known Tony forever. We used to work in my studio when I lived here. And then I got married, and my wife decided she wanted to be close to her son and the grandbabies. So we moved to Louisiana. The entire time I've been down there, Tony's kind of kept me in the loop because prior to me leaving, I would help Tony on this thing or that thing, or even if it was just a extra pair of eyes to look at something, and vice versa. And so when this project came along, like the last few, he kind of kept me in the loop. This time, he just gave me more to do. With Stray Dogs, I was doing backgrounds, but like Trish would take them and then redraw them and like incorporate them so they look more like her drawings.
Right.
This time around, I'm actually doing all the backgrounds. So, it's kind of neat because you actually get to see what I do because it's there.
Right.
And that's pretty much why. I mean, I'm just again, fingers crossed, always part of the group. So it's a nice place to be.
It's fun to be part of the Beatles, right? Even if you're
Yeah.
Ringo.
Plus, it's fun to take like a road trip with somebody that like
Yeah, absolutely.
Tone and I get together and work on this book every 6 weeks or so. And so this sort of like landed in the middle of one of those. And it's just like, hey, do you want to also drive across the country and back while we're doing that?
So driving across the country, I saw the tour shirt, but how many dates do you guys have planned?
I'm not 100% sure. I think it's like 46 stops, 47 stops. And those are like full, like we're going there doing a signing. We'll be there for a few hours. We're also planning on, like, if we're driving through an area that has a shop and we've got time, just pulling over, maybe calling ahead of time, pulling in and just, anything you got that's me or that's Tone, we'll sign it up and just that, I feel like that's helpful, especially, like I said, in the middle, these shops that are sort of in the middle of the country where they don't often get comic creators coming through, like to be able to get signed stuff just, when you're buying your comics on a Wednesday, I feel like that's hopefully a little bit exciting.
I'll tell you off air if you guys if you're doing anything near Minnesota or like Fargo, there's a couple shops over there. I would be like, hey, you should go check those guys out. They're
Are you
really
from
cool.
there?
No, but the comics retailing community is shockingly small. When
Yeah.
when you're just a comics fan, comics feels like Hollywood, right? So like the Tone Rodriguez's, the Tony Fleeces, like you guys are like movie stars, right? And the guys that sell comics,
Independent.
like those guys are like rock stars.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And then you get into the business and you realize that like everybody is just like you know what I mean? Like, oh, I know this retailer in New York, but that's also the shop where like Scott Snyder shops, or I know
Yeah.
this retailer in Washington, D.C., but this is where like Tom King shops, or like I know this retailer in California, Timmy Hague, shout out Timmy Hague,
Yeah.
at Arsenal Comics, but oh, hey, he knows Tony Fleece, and Tony Fleece is about to do this it's just this very comics is like this very big small community, right?
Yeah.
And so um you know, even if I've been in Fargo once, but like I know like three retailers out there that are like great guys. So you were
Wow.
talking about like, those flyover states where like, they don't have the Tony Fleece that drops in on a Tuesday or Wednesday to pick up his pool, or whatever the case be, especially like New York, Washington, D.C., they've got a ton of creators around. They come
Yeah.
in and, shop. So, that's really, I think that's great. Like those guys, giving those guys an opportunity to have like somebody, especially if you're your caliber coming in and just be like, hey, we're here to sign some books. I think that'd be huge for them.
Minnesota's got Xander Cannon from Top 10 and from Kaiju Max. I know that for sure. A couple other guys. I was just in Sioux Falls, South Dakota this weekend at a show.
Were
Uh,
you?
yeah, that's I
I've
used to
never.
I used to live there when I was younger.
Oh wow. Oh, so see, you probably know who I'm going to recommend. I was going to shout out Paradox. Anyways,
Oh, cool. Yeah,
see,
yeah.
we got 46 stops on this tour. And you guys are driving the whole way.
Yeah, hopefully that's the plan. I just replaced a steering, not the steering column. Yeah, like the shaft or
The
something.
shaft, yeah.
I got something replaced on my car last week, and then I went out to get and started up this morning, and the battery needed replacing. So it could be a real adventure. This could be a real ramshackle, Tommy boy situation where by the time we get to the end of this tour, it's just like like a fence for the passenger side door and like a cow catcher on the front. But yeah, the plan is we're hopping in my car. We got like a vinyl wrap. If you saw the video we made, we got like a
Yeah.
vinyl wrap made for the car so we can sort of advertise as we drive, as if somebody's gonna follow us to the
You
store
got like
stop.
groupies like a bus
Yeah.
behind you. If you haven't seen it, you guys can check that out on Tony's Instagram. I actually watched that video this morning. It's awesome. After the tour is over, if the car survives, what was that? It's a Prius, right?
Yeah.
If the Prius survives this trip, are you going to leave the wrap on?
No, I'll take it off. I already feel self-conscious about having it around town because it's like just having a big red light on that says like, "This is what my job is,"
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Not
No,
that
I
so
think
far
it's kind
nobody
of
at the
cool.
grocery stores wanted to talk about it or anything, but
That was going to be my next question. Is anybody stop you and be like, "Hey, do you know anything about that comic book, that Feral book?"
yeah. Oh man, believe me, that would be. I would never stop talking about that. So far, I only get recognized in comic book spaces.
That's
But
fair.
like we went and saw the Frank Miller documentary that just came out. Like they
Very
played it,
good.
and leaving there, I had a friend with me that rode with me, and we were leaving the parking garage, and somebody was like yelled over from the from where you pay for your parking, and they were like, "Are you Tony Fleece?" And I was like, "I'm so glad there's a person here to see this happen." He was a big
Oh,
fan.
so now, yeah, so the story is real. Like
Yeah,
they saw this happen. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Um, so with the Farewell World Tour, I mean, are there any stops you're looking forward to? Like, oh, we can't wait to get to Texas, or we can't wait to get to Louisiana, or wherever the case may be.
I mean, this is gonna sound like bullshit, but literally all of them, because the shops that we hit up are all shops that are from, like, I have a personal curated list of comic shops that are like people I've met, people I've talked to that I know sell my books. And so in a lot of cases, it's gonna be like going to hang out with a friend for, however 4 hours we're in there signing books or whatever. Maybe we get dinner or whatever. So it
Right.
is sort of like we're hitting Bedrock Comics and uh, Space Cadets in Texas, and we're hitting Gabe's Cave in Arkansas, and we're hitting
Collected Comics in Dallas, Fort Worth.
yeah, we're hitting Third Eye. We like those guys, but we're also hitting like Dreamers and Make Believers, just like a whole different vibe in Baltimore. And then, Mile High Comics. I grew up in Colorado, and like if you read comics in the 80s and 90s, that feels like you're playing at Red Rocks or something, right? Like that's
Yeah, for
that's
sure.
the famous comic store, you know?
Those ads were everywhere back then.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. So yeah, all of them pretty excited about because they're all people that we already know and that we're already like excited to get to sort of like check in with and hang out with, and then the readers that are at those shops, a lot of times those are people that because we have had relationship with these shops and we have sort of like made sure to promote to them, and sort of like they've done a pretty decent job in a lot of cases of building a readership for us. So hopefully, I'm sure there'll be a couple stops where we're just sitting there twiddling our thumbs, but hopefully it's like a cool vibe most of the time where we get to really like see a bunch of people and talk with them, and
I mean, comic book shops are one of my favorite places of all time. It doesn't matter if it's a big one, a little one. Sometimes you go into bad ones, like they're just kind of run a certain way and you're still hunting. I love
Oh yeah.
hunting. I love just the smell of old books and the plastic. It's like, we're going to do, 45, 47 stops at my favorite place. It's going to be awesome.
and we've got like a little list of we're keeping of just like books we're on the lookout for.
That was actually my next question. It's like, I mean, you're going to so many
Yeah,
comic shops, you've got to have your list with you, right?
we
Yeah,
do. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So
Definitely looking for Rubber Blanket #2. Impossible to find for some reason. Definitely looking for Spawn, uh, the like artist
Artist
edition,
edition.
volume 1.
Yeah.
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 okay.
I love Al Williamson, so I'm always looking for Al Williamson stuff. And I'm still looking for a good copy of the Star Wars hardcovers.
Oh, the Al Williamson
The
one,
Al Williamson ones
the
and
the
the
box
the
sets.
box set,
Yeah,
yeah. So yeah, hopefully, fingers crossed. You never can tell.
you'll run into one of those for sure.
Oh
It's got
yeah.
to be a good one. It's got to be a good price.
Yeah. Will it be $1,000?
Yeah, I can't do that.
Well, so all this to be said, we talked a lot about this world tour. You're on Coliseum Forum. Obviously, the tour's coming to Coliseum Comics, right?
Absolutely.
3 Coliseums.
Yeah.
Three Coliseums, right? Like we're going to do our Tampa store, which is great. Used to be the manager of that shop. Very excited about that. You're doing our Kissimmee store, which is one of our biggest stores, and I actually used to be the manager of that store too. And then you're doing our Arlington location in Jacksonville. Never managed a Jacksonville store, but I did help build that one. Very excited about this. You guys are going to be there October 26th and 27th. Is that right?
That's correct. Yeah.
That's
We're
crazy.
we're basically the framework of this tour is set up. We're going from LA to Florida and back, basically. We're going to Florida because we're doing a CGC signature series signing down there. And then
Right.
when we knew we were going to Florida, we were like, well, we got to hit a Coliseum and try and hit as many Coliseums as we can down there. Because I know you guys sell my books.
We
So
do. We actually, it's funny. We were talking about like what do we have? Like what's Tony going to sign? Like because I mean, with especially with like with stray dogs, feral stuff like that, especially the early issues, we sold out. Like you order up, you're like, oh yeah, we'll have enough for back issues, and the customers are like, psych, that's not happening.
Yeah.
We did do a local man exclusive, so we have local man exclusive free to sign, which is pretty cool.
Was it part of that like triptych?
Big, yeah, the big
Yeah.
quad. It was like we did 4 books. It was all number ones that were all coming out at the same time. So we were like, let's just do a big connect.
Wait,
I
what were
don't
the other four? How did we do against them? Did anybody did we win?
know. You know what? If you want to hang out after the interview, I will
Yeah, all
definitely pull the sales numbers for you.
right.
Local Man did good for us, period. So I'm
Good.
assuming plus that cover, I thought it was pretty great. Guys, we're really excited to have you. We're looking forward to having you. Trisha's going to be with you for our leg of the tour.
Yeah, Trish
Maybe?
Forstner's going to be at all our Florida signings, and especially at the Coliseum signings. Yeah, we'll be me and Tone and Trish will be signing ferals and stray dogses, and like you said, if you have Simpsons back issues you want to bring for Tone to sign, Trish has been doing all the Disney covers for Dynamite, and she's been doing obviously My Little Pony like me for years before that. But yeah, if you've got Uncanny Valleys, if
Is
you
it,
got Local Mans, if you got Wolverine Venom Wars, all that stuff. Army of Darkness Seas,
is that the
the
plural?
plural. Yeah.
Darkest Disease? Yeah.
Armies, is it like attorneys general, armies of darkness?
Yeah. I was
Possible.
actually going to do a joke that you were only going to sign My Little Ponies
That's right.
well, on the tour, but then I was like, people might take that seriously, and that would be a huge bummer. It's
I'll
like,
specifically don't show up because they're like,
yeah, no, I'm
I'll
not
sign
dealing
My
with
Little
that.
Ponies for free. Everything else, there's a charge.
Right. That's a joke. But we do if you guys want to secure a ticket to in line, we do have packages up on our website right now. You guys are doing some special stuff for your tour as well. Some tour package specifics.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. You're good at this. We're gonna have tour exclusive covers, and you guys ordered. I think you'll have at each shop you'll have a set like 10 of them for sure. And hopefully by the time we get to Florida, we'll still have them because it's limited to 500. But you'll have 10 per store. I don't know what you're doing. I think you're selling some of them like you can get them online ahead of time.
Yeah, yeah, we're doing tiered packages. If you want, here, I can switch into salesman mode real quick.
Go.
Yeah, we have our platinum package, our gold package, and our silver package. The platinum package is one per store, and that guarantees you first in line, as well as a limited feral sketch, cards, one of those limited to 500 cardstock variants that you just mentioned. Three additional signatures from the feral team, so that's from Tone, Trish, and Tony. And then the very first spot in line at the Simi signing on October 26th, or the very first line in Arlington on the 27th, or the very first spot in line in Tampa. I forget what time the one starts in Tampa on the 26th as well.
Yeah,
So
we
that's the
got it.
platinum package.
That's awesome. Yeah. But yeah, we're sending to shops packages that have t-shirts and that have the variant covers and a sketch. And you guys are breaking that up and selling it in tiered packages. That's smart. But we'll have if you sell through those, we'll probably have some leftover variant covers, and we'll have t-shirts, and we'll have stuff to sign, and we'll be doing sketches and whatever you want. We're just basically, we're not charging shops to come out there, so we're
Yeah.
just basically like, if you want to come out and get a sketch or something, that might be what pays for our hotel room that night or whatever, cheap hotel room.
So, and I kind of want to frame that for people that are watching. When you deal with guests, and a lot of times, these people are comic creators or actors or whoever that are doing these signings, a lot of times they are really happy to come out and sign and meet people. But a lot of times they have signing guarantees. They go, hey, if I don't make this much money, you have to pay me what I don't make, right? You got to make me whole. So the idea that the Feral team, that you guys are doing this, going to shop to shop to shop, 46 times and setting up, and especially for a book that, as big as Feral, but a book that's as big as Stray Dogs, just to kind of do this for the fans, that's a big deal. And I got to say, like, we really appreciate you and thank you for that, guys.
Awesome, man. Yeah, of course. I mean, it's about Farrell's doing great right now, but it's about, trying to make sure, put it on as solid a ground as we possibly can, because we want to keep it going for a long time, and the way the business is right now, it's not super steady. So anything we can do to make sure that we're propping this thing up, and because we got a big story we want to tell, and we want to make sure we get all the way to the end.
Yeah. I
So
mean, it's our pleasure. I mean, I love doing this stuff. I mean, just signing a book, it's thank you for buying the book.
Yeah.
I mean, again, it's the very least we can do. I'll be honest with you.
I
that's
mean,
awesome.
driving to 46
But
comic stores is not the very least.
I'm talking about once we're
Yeah, that's
the very least I can do is sign the book. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
yeah. I mean, the 46. So that's putting the work in right there, fellas. That's pretty big.
You know who did a bunch of stores? Because I remember when we did that promo video, we said it's like the biggest tour that anyone's ever did. But I know that Headlopper,
Oh
yeah, Andrew and his wife, they went around and hit a bunch. Did they come to you?
no, no, and we're actually really big Headlopper fans here at Coliseum. So
Yeah. Yeah, he put out this book Snarlagon a couple years ago, and he sort of did this same thing where it was sort of like the push because it was self-published and sort of
yeah,
like going shop to shop to sell it. So
did they reach out and go like
more than
we
46.
did they reach out to sell you that? They were like, no, no, we did more.
No, they did not. But ever since whenever I make a bold declarative statement like the largest or anything like that, I'm like, yeah, I wonder if it is. Like was the Extreme World Tour in 1993 larger than this? Then I was like, and then I remember Ryan Brown and Charles Soule did a tour, but I don't think they did 46. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, it's just a funny thing to say. To be honest with you, I think
Well, yeah, like saying world tour.
yeah,
They're
yeah.
definitely not leaving
Oh yeah.
the United States.
Yeah, it's the United States.
People
Yeah.
they filled our inboxes with world tour, huh?
Yeah.
And they're like, calm yourself. I have my favorite concert t-shirt ever, and it's a Black Sabbath or Zach Sabbath t-shirt. And on it, it says world tour. And on the back, it has all the shows listed. There's 3 shows listed on it. It's my favorite concert. It's like, yeah, we're bigger than Zach Sabbath.
Yeah.
We're good. World tour.
Honestly, when you're down towards like the southern states, I'm not sure what the comics retailers look like in Mexico, but if you slip across the border and do one shop over there, boom, world tour.
We did it, yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody just hit me up about Mexico City.
Yeah.
That's not
There you
right.
go.
It's not
See?
over the border, though.
We are going to be at El Paso. We're close enough that we could cross the border illegally and
Oh.
then just hop back over. And I think that would also, and when we're shot by Texas Rangers, we can explain to them that it's a funny joke for my comic book tour.
I'm sure that would fly. I'm sure they'd be like, "Oh, go about your business then, sir."
Never mind. He
Yeah,
has
there
to
you go.
stay. I can go.
I'd be like, no, you go. I'll see you later. I'll stay here on this side.
Yeah. Good luck. So, when does this all kick off?
We're leaving 1 week from today, actually. The first stop is at Alternate Realities in Las Vegas. So we're going to get up early on that day and drive out there. And then every one of these stops is basically we'll go sign at the place, and either we're going to drive out, like head to the next town right after, or we're going to sleep and then wake up early in the morning and head to the next town. But yeah, we'll be leaving in 1 week.
Yeah.
But before that, we have a signing at Things from Another World in City Walk out here at Universal City, and then the LA Comic Con. So, and we have to make Feral and Uncanny Valley and local.
Yeah, well, that was my next question. Like, you're still making comics while doing this tour, and you have other signing engagements, right?
Yeah, the plan was to be so far ahead that we could just take, what I thought was going to be like a month, 6 weeks, and do all these shops, and that never really goes like how you think it's going to go. Well, the new jobs come along. Like, I think when I started planning this out, I hadn't said yes to making Wolverine yet, and then that takes up a bunch of time, and then
Right.
so stuff always comes along to what do they say, man plans, God laughs, or whatever. So
Right,
yeah,
right.
the answer is we will be making comic books in the car and in the hotel rooms, and I'm pretty confident we can do this whole thing without having any major delays. So
Yeah.
it's gonna be fun. I mean, me and Tone have been making comics in close quarters for years and years and years, so it won't be too different, except for the car's a little bumpy. We'll see how that goes for drawing. Probably not going to be able to draw.
Not in the car. But the thing is, if it wasn't so much for Tony and somebody else said we were going to do this, I'd probably say there's no way it's going to happen. But Tony is this guy just works all the time.
Very stubborn.
And so when I'm here, I feel really bad if I end up crashing before he does. And it happens almost every night. It's like I get to like 12, midnight, and I'm like, dude, I gotta go to sleep.
Right.
And he'll be up for another 2 hours.
Is that why you said yes to go into all these stops? Because you felt guilty that I would go to them without you?
No, no, no. I'm guilty because when I'm with him, I feel like I have to work as hard as he does, and
Right.
he works hard. I don't think anybody works harder than him. I don't believe it. I really don't believe it.
Calm down.
It's the truth.
Biggest comic book tour, hardest worker in comics right now, Tony Fleece.
A lot of declaratives. Yeah.
It's the truth.
Maybe Andrew McLean.
Maybe Andrew McLean. We're not sure. It's unverifiable.
Can't tell for sure.
Can't tell for sure. Guys, thank you so much for agreeing to do this. We can't wait to meet you here at Coliseum of Comics. Again, that's October 26th and October 27th. 3 locations, Tampa, Kissimmee, Arlington. For a second there, that looked almost vulgar. I was like, really, Tony? I thought we had kind of
I think it looks like a fisheye. I felt like Fred Durst just like
oh
throwing.
yeah, doing the $3 bill. Guys, again, thank you so much. We can't wait to see you, and good luck on your journey.
Yeah, very excited to see you guys. Thanks for having us. Thanks for helping promote like this. We're super excited. We're excited to come to Florida.
Yeah, we'll see you in a month.
Yeah.